to Selling Recurring Revenue Services, Essential Lessons for Sales Professionals and Managers. This is Sharon Shaw speaking, and I just want to welcome you all again today. Last week, I think we all had a busy week out at the ISC West show. Not sure if everybody here on the call went to the event, but you know, it seemed, for those of you who weren't there, it seemed like attendance was up. It seemed like, you know, the morale overall of the industry was up. It was a good experience. You know, so often I come back from those events and I'm just zonked and tired and, you know, worn out or disappointed with how maybe it turned out for the classes that I taught. But, you know, this is, I'd say, probably the biggest bump of enthusiasm I've seen in the industry since, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago when we had that little downturn for a while. So it's really good. I just wanted to share that with you guys, that the vibes from like the nationwide kind of industry seem to be up and up, and so that's very good. Today, what we're going to be talking about are a few different things. I'm going to be demonstrating the new end user portal for virtual guarding. Basically, this is a portal that all virtual guarding customers, your customers, will have access to. It doesn't cost any extra or anything like that. Over the last couple of months, we've been making that transition over to the more cloud-based operating platform at the monitoring center. And I wanted to make sure we gave it a couple of months, you know, using it functionally for all of our sites before, you know, really pushing the demo and the sales and incorporating this as part of the solution. And it's been going just fine. It really has worked out very nicely, and I'm really proud of what we have to offer your customers now. So I will show this to you here in just a moment. And then I'd also like to talk to you all a little bit about a couple of things that I learned at the ISC show, products that are available now that haven't been available to us and why that's important. And then lastly, some vertical markets, you know, just sharing with you a couple of new verticals that have had a lot of interest over the last few weeks. You know, just, you know, you get one lead and then you think, oh, that's interesting, you get another lead, and then you get 3 or 4 leads in the same realm or the same type of market. You start to realize that there's a real demand there, and I think that it's going to be a good thing for us to talk about today, you know, just so if any of your customers meet that description, you know how to go to them and offer these solutions. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do, like I mentioned, is demonstrate this portal. Now, I should share with you that in addition to this browser-based portal, customers can also download an app in the App Store for either iPhones or iPads and have a similar kind of experience as to what you'll see here in the browser today. But any internet-enabled computer can provide this to your customers. So once they have a site that is online and being monitored, they can come to this website and simply enter in their username and password. And there's 2 main benefits to this portal. There's the event reports, the incident reports, and then live video. I think different end users will use it differently. You know, I have some customers that I know are going to be using this as one of their primary means to mobily access live video, whereas I know there are others that are using this for insurance compliance and, you know, proving that they're doing the post orders and that the you know, different guard tours or incidents, whatever is happening, is being handled properly. But this is the home page of the dashboard, rather, that they will see when they first log in. Critical events really isn't relevant to monitoring customers because we will be fielding those events on their behalf. But there's 2 things that they will be looking at, which are the Events tab and the Cameras tab. So let's just take a quick look at what some of these event reports look like. What they'll want to do is click on Events and then click to View and Search Events. and it will pull up all of their locations under their particular login. So what's great is that different users, maybe there's one user that they should only have access to one site, and maybe there's another user that wants to have visibility to multiple sites. If they have more than one location, then all of the locations will be here for them to click on. I'm just going to be giving you a tour of the monitoring center. So I'm going to click on this, and then I can decide what kind of event. So I can filter if I only want to see alarm conditions or alarm events, or if I want to see all of the guard tours or patrols that we're doing, or I can leave it at the default of every event. I can adjust my schedule and decide what time frame I want to search in. If I need to go further back or narrow it down a little bit, I can do that. And then it will pop up with a list in chronological order of everything that's happened at this particular location. So I can scroll down and I can see, okay, well, what did they see on this particular patrol here? And when I click on it, the video that they watched automatically will play. All of the audit trail items are down here below, so you can see what time they started the tour, you can see how long they were monitoring, and see exactly what that operator saw at that point in time. So say, for example, somebody comes in and sees that their property was vandalized or something happened. They can come back and see, what did that alarm look like? What exactly did the operator see? What did they do when they saw it? If they saw something that was concerning, then this audit trail would be a whole lot longer because they would be monitoring longer. There would be notes that describe the incident and exactly what happened, who they dispatched, what time the incident actually came to a close. If your customer would like to just print, hey, I just want to print that, yes, this tour happened, or just have a PDF, something on paper that they can reference. By clicking on Get Incident Report, it will pull up a PDF of this incident and show exactly what they saw, who started processing the alarm, all of this information. All the site information is up here on the top right. So this allows them, if they have to file an insurance claim, if there's just any question as to whether or not the customer was compliant in doing what they're supposed to do from a security standpoint, they have all of this documentation and all of the video clips at their disposal to work with, send to police, do what they need to with them. Now, we will keep this here for 6 months. So basically, your customers will have access to these reports and these video clips for up to 6 months after their incident has occurred. And basically, this is a service that, again, does not cost any extra money. It just makes it that much easier to demonstrate, that much cooler for them to kind of understand how we do what we do, and to be able to stay informed and make sure that they feel they can hold us accountable for what they're paying us to deliver. So changing sites, let's take a look at what the live video features look like. When I click on cameras, it again takes me to a list of locations, and then it will pull up all of these individual still images so I can easily decide which camera view I want to take a look at. So let's take a look at the actual monitoring center and see what's going on there right now. And this, again, is just pulling live video. So it's not, super high-res, type video that you get out of here, but you can see, enough, to make a quick decision to identify behaviors. This is the same kind of frame rate and resolution that we monitor in. Now, obviously, if you have a VMS or a local storage solution set up on site, they'll have much higher quality video than what you're seeing here. But this does allow us to, do what we need to do with the video. And what's really nice is they have, like I mentioned, the app. So if your customers have an iPhone or an iPad and they want to be able to just quickly, take a look at what's going on in their site, whether it's during hours that we're monitoring or not, this is available to them 24/7. And just with a quick click of a mouse, they can change camera views and start looking at a different camera and seeing what that field of view looks like. So that's our team there working away. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And, you know, there's really no limit, you know, as to how many cameras. Now, obviously, it's only streaming one at a time, and that's just due to bandwidth constraints. You know, we just want to make sure that the video that we're offering is always available. So, you know, that's really what this does. So again, this is the portal, and what we're going to be doing with this, just so you guys know how to use it kind of as a sales tool, we can't give everybody a login, but there's a couple things you can do. If you wanted to have your office, your site be monitored by us and have us, you know, set up, then you could have your own access to your own portal. And just like I'm demonstrating my site, you could demonstrate your site to your customers. Similarly, if you would like to use just this kind of demo like I just shared, I'm going to be recording like a 3-minute version of this is the portal, this is how you use it, this is what you do with it, this is how you save things, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to make a little YouTube video. So that way you guys, if you're going into a customer, you know, proposal demonstration and you would like to just show them a demo of how this works, you don't have to call me and ask me to demo it every time. You can just go to a quick video and show them how it works. Now, it's always great if you happen to have your own iPad or iPhone. They are working on an Android version, by the way, right now. But if you have the ability to get your own site set up, being able to pass around an iPad in a conference room and let people touch it and play with it and see it for themselves is much more powerful than watching a little YouTube clip. But that's really, you know, that's up to you guys. But again, you know, we'll work with you to monitor your site, and you can have this for your own purposes as well. So that really is sort of the general gist of the new cloud portal that I wanted to show you guys. The next thing I wanted to talk about was what I saw at ISD West that I feel is important for us to be aware of and be able to capitalize on. So one of the things that we've been kind of waiting on was a hybrid solution for video analytics. Up to now, we've been somewhat limited in that it was either analog cameras into an encoder. Starting at the bottom here, you know, this is a single channel encoder. And the price point even for that was a little bit high. So, you know, they did come out with their own IP cameras. This is Video IQ I'm talking about. Video IQ did come out with their own IP cameras, but, you know, the price per channel, you know, it's an expensive piece of equipment, and not all customers can afford it. They're great. They work incredibly well. If you have a customer that's looking for high-resolution video with analytics, you know, you can certainly use that. But what I was seeing a lot of was existing sites with either existing analog cameras or even existing IP cameras. Someone you just sold a system to a few months ago that all of a sudden wants monitoring. And how do we go about doing that? I mean, we have integrations to so many different products that there's usually something we can do with whatever they have. But for outdoor detection and getting real-time alarms and alerts, I think one of the biggest challenges is, you know, how do you use, you know, anything besides analytics? We have a lot of people using like PIRs or beams outside to trigger the event, and then we go pull the live video through the IP cameras, and that works. But it's 2 devices instead of 1, and, you know, with as much as we can do in the camera these days, it's always best if there's a way to just have the camera itself be the detection device. So historically, they started out with, you know, their cameras and single-channel encoders. Then they went to this 4-channel analog encoder, which was great because, again, it's more affordable per channel, and you can easily loop it through a DVR and make it so that an existing system now is able to be monitored and add analytics and network to that. But what's really cool is that VideoIQ announced at ISC West their new rack series, rack mount appliance, which is hybrid. So they have analog or IP cameras or both that you can have up to 16 channels. And that's huge. That is so huge. Now, they're scheduled to start shipping May 15th. So the week after PSA Tech, you should be able to actually start ordering this stuff. I haven't found out what the pricing is going to look like yet. I'm waiting for PSA to get me the price list on this. But I mean, this is going to be a very important game changer for us because this really provides, I mean, 2 terabytes of storage. I mean, you're looking at an all-inclusive solution now, finally available with the analytics already built into it. So if you guys sold a system to one of your customers 6 months ago, 12 months ago that had a whole bunch of IP cameras, you don't need to worry about, you know, well, shoot, we don't have analytics, there's nothing we can do, or we need to rip and replace or add new cameras. No, you can keep the cameras you have and plug them into this rack mount server, and we'll take care of the monitoring and programming the analytics. So this is just a huge game changer. So please make sure you do some research on this. If you're coming out to PSA Tech, stop by the VideoIQ booth, take a look at what we can do. But it's really a great tool for us. This is something I felt like I've had handcuffs on for quite some time. You know, how do we take standard IP cameras and get this stuff, you know, to work with it? And there really was no way. You know, there were some really expensive server-based analytics that you could buy from like NICE and, you know, other places, or plugins you could add, but the plugins didn't typically perform very well, and, you know, the alternatives of high-performing analytics would, you know, be priced way out of market for most of our customers. So this provides that perfect balance, you know, for what I think we're all trying to do here. So please check it out. To get to this portion of the website, go to videoiq.com, hover over products, and then over appliances. And you can download the data sheet by clicking on this little link here and, you know, get a better feel for all the feature sets and capabilities and how this all works together. So again, videoiq.com is where to look at for this. And this is going to be a big win for all of us. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was vertical market. About 10 minutes left to do that, so bear with me, and I'll try to be brief. I didn't create slides on this, but I just wanted to share, you know, some of the leads that we've gotten over the past few weeks, just so you can see, wow, this is what these kinds of people are looking for. Perhaps there's these kinds of people in my neighborhood, calling them and offering them this opportunity. So to start with, you know, there's 2 that I want to talk about. The first one is campus safety. And so talking about like a school campus or maybe even a healthcare campus, but primarily I think schools. You know, we've had a lot of struggles, you know, in our industry figuring out how do we protect people against, you know, this active shooter scenario. You know, what can we do differently? What products can we use in a different way, you know, to really help prevent some of this stuff or mitigate the damage? And I think, you know, we're all kind of looking for a leader. We're all trying to figure out who's going to take this and run with it. And, you know, mass notification is certainly one solution that's going to help. But in addition to mass notification, you know, it's that response. It's, well, who actually knows what's going on, and how can we detect these things sooner, and how can we help provide better intelligence to the authorities that are dispatched to the school when an incident is occurring. So what we're doing, what we're talking to a couple of schools about right now, is taking, you know, cameras, putting them in hallways and classrooms, and having a combination of like intrusion type monitoring for doors forced open or even doors being propped open, making sure that nobody accidentally leaves the door propped open. And then also providing every teacher with a panic button. And so if something were to happen and that teacher pushes their panic button, it would initiate an alarm and we could start monitoring remotely. One of the biggest challenges is how does anybody confront a shooter? If somebody's armed and dangerous and there to do damage, no security guard, that, most schools can afford, is trained and equipped, to properly handle those kinds of threats. Some of our schools are paying to have law enforcement officials on campus, which is very, very expensive, and a lot of them can't, frankly, afford to do that. So what do we do for the guys that can't? And even so, that police officer, that security guard, or whomever is in charge of protecting that site is just as vulnerable as anybody else that's there. And so what's really great about remote monitoring and this idea of virtual guarding is that we can navigate the premises undetected. So if somebody presses a panic button they've got in their pocket and we start initiating monitoring, we can dispatch police immediately. We can look through the school, we can navigate throughout the facility and see where people are, what people are doing, and communicate that back to police as they're approaching. Because we'll stay connected to the dispatcher until the incident is resolved. So say, for example, we get a panic button alarm and there's something happening in one of the classrooms, and we're able to see which classroom that was and tell the dispatcher, well, this wing of the building is pretty much safe. You could start evacuating people out of the gym. You could start evacuating this area, that area, that area. We could potentially unlock doors that are outside, to allow officials to come in through a side door that's typically locked and permit access so they can start, getting people out that back exit. And all the while, the active shooter doesn't even necessarily know that this is going on because we're able to do it in areas that are separate from where they currently are located. And as that person starts to move throughout the site, we could be assisting the police and telling them what's going on, where they're going, how many people are there, all of that kind of information. If there's more than one shooter, giving them that intel so they can get set up and they can approach the scene with better information in real time and really do a better job in that intervention process. So that's one big thing. The other thing is municipalities. We've gotten a lot of calls lately from like cities, and they're protecting utility buildings, water treatment centers, outdoor parks, things like that. And I think what I've seen is that quite a few of them have their own kind of dispatch service, or they've had some kind of command center in place for a while, but they're reducing staff, they're running out of money, or it's just they don't know how to do it properly. They're not effectively monitoring for things that matter. And it's an expense, frankly, that can't afford to not work. And so with municipalities, we can assist with, either event-driven monitoring to protect, those unmanned facilities or perimeters of some of the more sensitive areas like the water treatment facilities. And we can do guard tours throughout parks and areas that are more active, but they want some kind of a presence, some sort of security protection on site without the high cost of, having a specific officer attached to that location or having to hire a guard service to secure that area. So I wanted to just mention those two things, those two markets, because I really feel like if I'm getting this many leads for those, clearly there's a demand elsewhere. And don't forget that project financing is another tool that you have at your disposal. Municipalities and public schools qualify for a reduced interest rate, affordable, and it allows them to budget. It's guaranteed budget. So local municipalities and local school districts, you know, if they show that, you know, for some reason in year 3 of the contract, that line item in the budget was cut, then the bank, you know, has no recourse, and they waive the financing payment. So, you know, it protects you. You get your money up front, but at the same time, it provides a more long-term, budget-friendly, and predictable cost structure for these locations, these customers, to use to get the services and solutions that they need. So if you have any questions about either of those markets or the financing program that we have available, or you know, just the standard applications that we're kind of seeing work for these environments, please let me know. I'm happy to help. And lastly, you know, just wanted to say, please come out to PSA Tech coming up in a couple weeks here in Denver, Colorado. Runs May 6th through 10th, and there are quite a few managed services classes that we're going to be hosting. We're endorsing services track, and this track includes, you know, standpoint for selling RMR. We talk about how to identify applications for virtual guard services. That's on Tuesday, May 7th. And then right after that, we have a class called The Steps of Virtual Guarding Technology Deployment. So how does installing a system for virtual guarding vary from installing a system for, you know, standard purposes, and what needs to change, or how is it easier? You know, what kind of paperwork do you need? What scope of work verbiage needs to be in place? You know, those kinds of things. And then lastly is selling RMR solutions on Thursday, May 9th. Now that particular class has a premium on it. All these other classes that you're looking at here have it's all inclusive of the typical PSA Tech conference pass. But if you register for the one on the bottom, selling RMR solutions, I do believe it's a couple $100. But it's taught by a gentleman named Chris Peterson, who I highly, highly recommend for his sales training and sales strategy and consulting services. And so I assure you that you will get the benefit both of your time and of your money well spent. He's great, and he'll be able to work wonders with you and your team if you let him. So with that, I think I'll go ahead and close up. I think it's about 10 o'clock on the dot. So thank you all again for your time today. As usual, it's been a pleasure. Hope you enjoyed the demonstration of our new cloud portal for end users. Please check out the Video IQ new appliance, the Rialto R series is what that was called. And if you have any customers or ideas for municipalities or school safety, give me a call and let's talk about it and see if there's something we can do to enhance that level of protection and security that they are all looking for. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.